Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to the videos? Another paid request, this time for Manuel, who wanted me to do a commentary on the 1983 film Christine. Or for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. So let's get right into it. Why am I not able to talk, for fuck's sake? I'm paused at the beginning. For those who want to follow along, countdown begins now. Oh! 3, 2, 1, pressing play. With the Columbia Pictures lady. Don't know what's under the toga. For all I know, she's a fucking mermaid. Maybe she's the Dara Hannah's mom from Splash. I don't know. You don't know what's under that. We don't see her legs, so maybe she has no legs. Mrs. No Legs. Columbia Pictures. Doing her best Statue of Liberty impression. From Polar Film. Filmed at the polar ice caps. And of course we start with Bad to the Bone, George Thorogood. Which I never read the novel Christine, but I know in the novel it was more about the car was possessed by the ghost of this individual, and that's been completely taken out. It just seems as if the car comes alive from the time it's built, and there's no other explanation. I'm fine with that. Leaves a sense of mystery as to why this came about. Now, around this time, there's a lot of Stephen King adaptations being made, because you had films like, the success of Carrie definitely helped. And even Salem's Lot on TV, so you had Cujo, you had this movie, you had The Dead Zone, and of course, few years before, The Shining, and wave of Stephen King film adaptations. A lot of them I do enjoy, a lot of them I do like. I do like this film. It's not my favorite Stephen King adaptation. I love The Running Man. I love Maximum Overdrive. I love Graveyard Shift. I love The Shining. But I still like this film. And it's not my favorite John Carpenter film. I would put quite a few above it. Because I do like this film. I don't love Christine, but I do like it. I have much more fun with Maximum Overdrive if we're talking killer vehicle movies. John Carpenter definitely brings a nice slick attitude to it, like this whole assembly scene with the usage of the rock and roll. It is 1957, 50s rock and roll, and just give prestige to the car itself. Like right here, Carpenter's making it a character unto itself. The different parts, the different angles. Just like you were showcasing a movie star, you were showcasing the title star of this movie, this 1957 Plymouth. And it shows like from the get-go that this car is alive and gets a taste of blood coming up right here. Gonna have some fun. There you go. At least he's still alive, but definitely got a taste of blood. Now, John Carpenter at this point, people pretty much know the story, but for those who don't, Carpenter he was doing The Thing, 1982 film The Thing. And great movie, loved it. Uh-oh, car's not gonna like that. Putting ashes in there. He ain't gonna like that, or gonna be pissed. Of course, break time, so had his first taste of blood and going to his first taste of death. But yeah, John Carpenter was doing The Thing, and that was with Universal, but while that's a great movie, is an absolute classic, sadly the film did not do well. And the film was a complete bomb. And Carpenter lost jobs. He was going to do Firestarter, the Stephen King adaptation. I mean, even in the making of The Thing, there was like little notes and pre-production aspects with friends he was working on to set up Firestarter after The Thing. But because of the critical and commercial catastrophe, and we got our first death scene, but a certain sense of mystery as to how he died. Like, how did he get killed? What made him die? Or they say that happens, almost happens to the girl later on, where she's like, be choking. I don't know if that's meant to infer, because I don't think it's like the seatbelt choking them, so I don't know if what other aspects are happening within that car. I guess just its supernatural presence is suffocating or something to that effect, But yeah, Carpenter got fired from Firestarter, and he's like, I don't know what else to do. I need to do something because I need another job, and what am I going to do? Well, this is Christine. It's another Stephen King book. And I mean, Carpenter, he's admitted he did this more for a job. There wasn't, quote, passion behind it where this is a story he really wanted to make and I really want to make this film. It was, that film was a flop, The Thing, and I need a hit. So he made this film, and the film, I think, doubled its budget and did okay. Yeah, John Carpenter was unavailable owing to two projects: adaptation of Firestarter and also a work on the novel The Ninja. He was going to do a film version of that. There's production delays. He directed the film as a job as opposed to a personal project. He read the book Christine. He said, I didn't think it was frightening, but it was something I needed to do at the time of my career. Initially, Columbia Pictures wanted to cast Brooke Shields because she was in The Blue Lagoon, and then Scott Baio as Arnie. Tim made an audition for the role, but opted out when he offered the lead in Footloose. Of course, we have Keith Gordon here as Arnie, which he was also in Jaws 2, and I think he was in Dressed to Kill, the Brian De Palma film. And Alexandra Paul, she was cast as the female lead. Now, I thought Keith Gordon did a really good job as this dirty guy who comes out of his shell and then becomes a different animal because of the influence of the car Christine. John Stockwell, who's this football guy who is friends with, I always thought John Stockwell sucked. Oh, another thing with Keith Gordon, of course, he was the son of Rodney Dangerfield's character in Back to School, of course, which I love Back to School. Yeah, Dressed to Kill, Back to School, Jaws 2, The Legend of Billie Jean. Like, he only was in two films in the 90s, and one was an unknown role in The Player, and then I guess he just opted more to direct, because he directed episodes of Dexter, he directed episodes of The Killing, he directed episodes of Nurse Jackie, the TV show Fargo. So I think he just got the directing bug and decided to work more into there instead of acting. Which I know John Stockwell became more of a director as well, but John Stockwell, I just never thought he was a good actor. I thought he was stiff. I thought he was wooden. I thought he was not that talented. I mean, in this, he was in My Science Project, and I don't think he was good in that. I think Fisher Stevens, anytime he's in a movie, like Fisher Stevens, I thought stole the show from My Science Project. And I think Keith Gorin stole the show here, and not John Stockwell. I didn't. Stockwell, I think, is just very wooden. Now, yeah, he did become a director. He directed Blue Crush, which had, oh yeah, Kate Bosworth and Michelle Rodriguez. That was about the ladies and surfing. He did Into the Blue, which had Paul Walker in it. I remember not really caring for that film. Turistas, which I like Josh Duhamel in that. I could probably watch it for that, but it's not a great movie. He directed Kickboxer Vengeance. That was the first of those two Kickboxer reboots. Which I always thought was such a weird decision for him to direct a Kickboxer movie. And he did a film called Armed Response, which starred Wesley Snipes and Anne Heche. Which, yeah, not a lot of people remember for good reason. Buddy Repperton. The Bully. William Ostrander's the guy who plays that character. Pretty buff bully. That's all you gotta do. Come on, man. Now that one guy on the right looks familiar. I'm wondering, is that the same guy I'm thinking of? With like the crazy hair. Trying to see. Ah, there you go. What a dick. What a fucking dick. Yeah, I think that one guy that I said with the crazy hair, I think that was the guy in Ghostbusters. Yeah, the guy in the back dealing with the crazy like hair. I think that's the guy. God, I wish he was on screen now. Like I said, that guy in the middle, right? The guy in the middle and the with the white shirt. I think that's Steven Tesh in Ghostbusters. The original is the guy that got shot and the gun spits out of his mouth. Like, ugh. I didn't think you'd give electric shots. You'd keep the $5. And then Bill Murray's like, I will, mister. Yeah, I think that's Steven Tash. I think that's the guy who gets shot at the beginning of Ghostbusters 84. And then the big guy. I swear that big guy I've seen in other stuff as well. I want to say that's Malcolm Denaire. And yeah, he was in Heaven Help Us. He was one of the main kids in that. He was the brother Will Wheaton in The Curse and became one of the villains in that movie. He was in Popcorn. He was in Robin Hood Men in Tights. He was in National Lampoon's European Vacation. Yeah, pretty damn buff fucking bully, Jesus. Lay off the steroids. So yeah, by this point, I mean, John Carpenter had done Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, and again, The Thing was such a massive bomb. He just, I need work quick. So Christine, Starman, both of them did decently, and Jeff Bridges got an Oscar nomination for Starman. So then he got another shot at bit of a bigger budget with Big Trouble in China. It's another classic that bombed, and went back to lower budget. Prince of Darkness, They Live. But John Carpenter's my favorite director because those movies I named, I either love or like to some extent. There's very few Carpenter films I hate. I'm not a fan of The Ward. I'm not big on Memories of Invisible Man. I'm not big on Dark Star. I'm not really into his Masters of Horror episodes. Someone's watching me, and so there's a couple, like a handful, but I love The Thing. I love Big Trouble in China. Those are my top two favorites. I love They Live. I love In the Mouth of Madness. And this is a good one because Keith Gordon does a great job portraying this role as a guy to see his transformation from nerd to heavily influenced. I like the way they do the effects on how the car fixes itself, reverse photography, and so forth. Is that another great score by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth, who made a great team together. And there's some nice actors like Harry Dean Stanton, who worked on Escape from New York with John Carpenter. There's this guy whose brother owned this car. This is Robert's Blossom. I'm like, I know this guy looked familiar. He's the old man in Home Alone with the shovel, and he smacks Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern with the shovel to save Macaulay Culkin. So yeah, that's Robert's Blossom. I first saw him in Home Alone. I'm like, I knew that guy. He's like old man who helps again Kevin McAllister out at the end. You also have like Robert Prosty, who owns that garage. Brand new car has a great smell. Best smell in the world. Well, that and pussy. See, I think John Carpenter, he knows how to work with cinematographers to get a great scope to use the widescreen format. 250 bucks. And John Stockwell just stinks up the fucking scene, man. Every scene's like, "Hey, man, okay, yeah, I don't know if you should do this, Arnie. Why do you think you want to do this, man?" Not many, it's not often when someone just goes up and calls you shitter. See, that was the thing, like, back in the day, like, with Mike, OCP, I think me and Efrey would, in a fun way say, "Hey, Arnie Cunningham." And so Mike would be like, "Shitter," when we do, like, these live streams way, way back. It wasn't even live streams, it was before where we could record via Skype and, like, record footage via Skype way before that type of stuff. And a shitter. So, and we see this difference where we have the way his parents talk to him and control him and tell him what to do and what not to do and all that stuff. And you see that change in his behavior and demeanor where he's charges up against his parents. I think he even threatens to beat the hell out of his dad and stuff. So again, you definitely see this bit of metamorphosis. See, he comes back and he's not granted. It's like, okay, we gotta sell these nerds. You got the glasses with the tape in the middle. The parents do come off as assholes from the get go. Like, this is the first time we see the parents that just come off as complete, unlikable twat waffles. Like, there's no reason. I mean, there's no sympathy I have for these two parents. And you don't really give much of a reason as to why this football player, this popular guy, is friends with Arnie. Like, you don't really hear much of a backstory from what I remember, and so yeah, this job just happens to be best friends with this guy. And there's Robert Prosty, who's been in quite a few films. Last Action Hero. He's the guy that gives the golden ticket to the little kid near the beginning of the film. I also remember him, he was in this Sylvester Stallone film called I See You. I think he's the guy in Mrs. Doubtfire who Robin Williams talks to near the end in order to get a job. And gets in the job as the children's host at the end. Robert Prosty's definitely having fun with his surly attitude. I did like John Stewart. Just I don't. He's a good fucking actor. He's one of the big problems I have with it because he's such an important character in the movie. And every time I see him, it's like my science project. I like the film, but goddamn, that guy just stinks up the fucking joint. Just stiff and wooden in his performance and his mannerisms and his behavior. And I don't know why you look at this and go, "Yep, that's a good performance." Especially when again, Keith Gordon is just putting work in with this dirty guy to this more cocky individual later on. And again, that's the thing is that I never really buy Keith Gordon and John Stockwell as friends because it's like, why would these guys hang out with each other? Like, yeah, John Stockwell protected Arnie, so there's that, but like that's a very telling bit. I found someone uglier than me, and I know I can fix her up. Again, just stern ass. I think that's the point. Is that you feel for this character that is bullied in school, has stern asshole parents, has and the owner of the garage treating him like shit. Again, the bullet, all this. So there's this one guy that he cares for, John Stockwell. One guy who seems to care about him. So to make him this such an outsider, this one of the reasons why he's so drawn to Christine because of all these other outside influences, other than Stockwell, but all these other outside influences just make him want to rebel or make him want to seek out some type of companionship. If you can't do it with a lady, why not with a car? That's where you get the idea of the certain, perhaps, possession angle, or however you want to put it, influence. Can't polish a turd, yeah. Heard that line from time to time. I'm surprised they have not tried to remake this film. I mean, they try to remake or do new adaptations of so many other Stephen King ones. I mean, how many times have they redone Carrie? And yeah, I do like I think T. Gordon, like, he does a good job showing the different types of demeanor. Like here, he's much more nicer, low key, kind of, you're unsure about the world, not sure what to do, and you try and do the best that he can type of avenue in these situations. And then when you see that change in that more cocky, perceivably popular individual, it's almost like an addiction. Maybe you could look at it as like drug addiction or some type of addiction as well. But I was saying before, I'm so surprised they haven't done a remake of this movie. Just like I said, they did Carrie, It, Pet Cemetery. They're doing another one on Salem's Lot, which they've done one before, TV wise. So I'm trying to think, like, even Maximum Overdrive they redid with Trucks, which was such a terrible movie. Hated Trucks. So, like I said, I'm surprised. I guess really this and Cujo. I'm surprised they haven't tried to do another adaptation on. Don't be surprised one day they do. I mean, even John Carpenter. I mean, you've had the Thing prequel, you've had remakes of Halloween, remakes of The Fog, remakes of Assault on Precinct 13. There was Tulsa Betrayal China with The Rock with Dwayne Johnson. Thankfully, nothing's come of it. So, with all the Stephen King adaptations, and there's been remakes of other John Carpenter films, probably a matter of time before this gets remade. Would not be surprised. Originally, Carpenter had not planned to film the car's regeneration scenes, but gave special effects supervisor Roy Arbogast 3 weeks to devise a way for the car to rebuild itself. So Arbogast and his team made rubber molds from one of the cars, including a whole front end. Sorry about that, I had to do something quick. If you heard chatters, because people to let me know that, real quick light, there's a pond a little while away from here. Thankfully far enough from here, but still, in the vicinity, the area. And there's, ducks that like to go there, and there's alligators. So just say, there's alligators there. I don't go over there anyway, but it's nice food for thought to know. Well, some people try to take care of them, so. But that's, Texas. What can you do? But going back to this, I'm 33 minutes and 24 seconds in. And sorry, Manuel, if it's not the most exciting commentary, but 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And I do have a few snacks, some cranberries. Like I say, this is one of those films I like, but I don't love. I've never loved this film, but I like it. Because, again, I think Keith Gordon's performance, I think when the car is built and coming alive, the film does kick into high gear. I like the death sequences with the car, like the car on fire, chasing after the bullies and running them over. I think that's also when the music really kicks in, the score, which is usually a pretty important component with John Carpenter movies. Now, obviously, this is all build up. Just know a bit about the characters. But of the three, Like Alexandra Paul is fine. Steve Gordon is good, and John Stockwell is just pretty awful. The thing about it is, I mean, I know we're 35 minutes in, but his parents were stern with him from the get-go, so and that's the thing, like the parents seem like they didn't give a shit about their kid from the get-go. So it's hard to really show that turn when, again, the parents are stern from the get-go. They're treating him like shit from the get-go. They're being antagonistic towards him from the get-go. It's just he's not a carpet you to step on anymore. It's just kind of hard to find sympathy for the parents. And again, because of John Stockwell's dog shit acting, it's kind of hard to feel the big relationship between him and Arnie. The car came back. So the wife died in the car. The girl. Everybody died in the car. Again, shots like that I enjoyed. John Carper close up, pulling all the way back to reveal the car along with John Stockwell. And obviously the cinematographer has a good part of that, but John Carper, he's a guy that likes devising those type of shots. I want you to do this, I want you to do that. And you've seen that throughout many other films that he's made. They just lost some miles. Deep, deep duck, but you can't come in. Maybe you assume that in a way Christine's sucking a bit of the soul, good nature out of Arnie. Although the people being Native Americans, that wouldn't be PC today. Also, in a weird way, it seems like the transformation of Arnie is not as much of a flow as you would think, where you would see like bits and pieces where maybe he stand up for one thing, but then he's like, "What the hell am I doing?" Or, "Wow, okay, I didn't like." You don't really get a lot of insight from Arnie if you think about it from his point of view, his insight in this transformation. It's just, okay, I'll help around the garage, and the next time we see him, he has no glasses. The next time we see him, now he's dressed like the Fawns. And he's got this girl. It's like, well, where did that come about? Where did that come around? How did that come to fruition? And that seems like important stuff that is missing. And it's like, well, wait a minute, that'd be like the more important things to showcase. And again, we don't see that. Like, how did it result to them? That's the thing. You think you would see the development of him take his glasses off and be like, I'm not going to use glasses anymore. Getting the courage to go out on this date. Maybe he tried to go out on a date before and he got nervous, he got scared, he got frightened, and then show the difference now that he's got a bit more oomph in his step. He's got a bit more assertiveness. He's got a bit more. See that gradual transformation from one to the other, and a lot of it is missing in this film. And he's doing a good job in terms of acting, but it's just like it seems like important pieces of this transformation are missing. It's kind of he's a nerd, then no glasses, and now, boom, he's the Fawns. It's like, where did this come about? And maybe this slow realization, like he puts this piece back together, and then he's like, oh, let me take these glasses off. He puts this piece together. He's I don't know, man. As okay, showing these dates, but I don't know, you're not getting as much of a flow as you would seem like you would get in another movie. Now, at least they don't do it where automatically he's now treating his buddy like shit and treating his buddy like total crap, and that there's zero simpatico between these two at this point. He's just a total 180. So it's not like he's gone a total 180. Part of being a parent is trying to kill your kids. That's the thing that we've never seen him. I guess that's the point, is that we've never seen him get along well with his parents. So in a way, it's kind of like, okay, well, this guy's getting his revenge verbally and physically with his father and his parents. It's like, okay, it's sort of, he gets revenge on his bullies, gets revenge on his assertive, stern parents, revenge on the stuff. So we were like, we're rooting for him. But is that really the purpose? Are we supposed to be rooting for him in this way? Even though we know, based on the concept, that, I don't know where I'm leading with it. I'm just bullshitting. And that's the thing with Alexandra Paul. Like, we know nothing about her character. We're like 45 minutes in. We saw a couple scenes in school, sitting down. She kisses Arnie, and now she's being felt up. We're 45 minutes in. This is all we know about the character. 45 minutes into the movie. So it's like, well, who is this person? I mean, isn't this like pretty much seem like the first scene that we actually get to hear her talk? And it's about, I don't want to make out and get naked in our car. You know what I mean? There's one reason why I don't talk about Christine a lot. That while I like Keith Gordon's acting and the technical aspects more than other stuff. And yeah, I would probably give this, I don't know, like a 3 out of 5 stars. Like, I mean, Max Overdrive is just more fun and batshit insane. Now, I don't know how the car makes her choke on the food. Like, this is an interesting shot to have this bright light in the car. I do wonder how they did this shot here. They just have a big spotlight type of thing to showcase the inner workings of the car. And where that light's coming from, I don't know. Like, within the movie, is it supposed to be from the dashboard of the car? And the radio that's so bright? Heimlich maneuver. It's called the Heimlich maneuver. Why didn't you learn that? Yeah, I wouldn't want to be going on a date anytime soon either. What if I choked on a fucking food and you didn't know how to do the Heimlich maneuver? At least they don't ignore the fact everything got bright. It's like some people would try, like, oh, well, this is meant for the audience to see and not for the characters. At least it's like, well, why was it so bright and this and that? But here's the thing: it's like we're 50 minutes in. I'm like, I don't know who this character is. What did she see in Arnie? Why? What made Arnie attracted or attractive to her? Like, what made Arnie attractive to her? What made Arnie want her to be with Arnie in the first place? What did she see in Arnie in the first place? How did they first meet? What did he first say? What did he first do? So you don't even get a, oh, they were a nice happy couple before. You see this change of pace, or they're a nice meeting. You see, that's the thing. How can you showcase any chemistry or anything of the sort when a good chunk of the relationship was off screen, and you just see this bit here with him being nasty to her? So it feels like there's chunks in the story missing. That was probably in the novel, but it's like, well, we gotta do this for a movie. That's for me. It doesn't seem like there's a proper build up to some of this stuff and some of these components. Maybe that's just me. And just me and me alone. But it's like, well, it seems like important stuff that would be in a usual film is not in this. Which is one of the things why I don't think it's as effective as other movies. I do think they definitely picked some interesting, appropriate songs for the soundtrack. Maybe on the nose, I love you, but it fits for what they're going for. So yeah, and that's I think one of my issues is that it seems like at times there's not a proper development on, again, the character Arnie, like his transformation. It seems like there's chunks missing. Like I said, I don't really. It's hard to buy him and John Stockwell as friends. Definitely not a proper development between Alexandra Paul and fucking Arnie, Keith Gordon. At the end, it's like, well, Robert Prosty has this thing, go pick up around, go do this, but we never see her do that. Like, I mean, it's him. We never see him do that. We never see him at the job. We never see him actually doing any of this stuff. So it makes you wonder, well, what was the point of Robert Prosty saying any of that when you never see the fucking Keith Gordon actually doing it? See the showcase that he's actually doing it, and then, oh, well, he does it less and less, and he's more angry, he's more upset, he's more nasty. He's like, nope, I'm not even going to do this, even though it's a simple job. I just seeing less and less of that. Here we get our bullies ready to wreck shit as we're halfway through the film. I mean, to be honest, it seems like the movie's more trying to get to this bit here, the revenge onto the bullies, and the car regenerating itself and killing the bullies one by one and taking care of business in that route. Yeah, that guy with the switchblade, he's the guy whose gun got spit out by being shot at the beginning of Ghostbusters. And yet the bigger guy cut the seat up. He was Will Wheaton's brother, stepbrother, whoever you know. Becomes one of the bad guys of The Curse. He was in Heaven Help Us, which is a film I reviewed, which had you Kevin Dillon and Andrew McCarthy pretty decent cast in it. The guy who plays the bully, I don't know what happened to him. Like, she seems like a nice lady, but it's like, what did she see in Arnie? Like, how did that all meet up happen? How did that all meet up come? Maybe some people don't, that's not important. Well, okay, fine. It's not important to you. But it's just feels like there's a lot of fucking holes in the damn story. At least to me. Guess that's just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Oh shit. Sorry that I'm just watching them and not mentioning much of anything. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, Manuel. I guess I don't have as much to say as I thought about Christine. Like I say, it's not. But definitely trying to showcase the anger and rage of this character. 6.79 to be. I see the toughness. It's like you're trying to make a film about a killer car. How do you do that with trying to be scary or trying to be atmospheric or frightening when it's a car? You know, it's a fucking car that people see cars every day and every other day. So how do you make that scary and such? I mean, we haven't. I mean, I guess it's that one scene or so, one or two scenes. So we didn't see a whole lot with his interaction with parents. Again, that one or two scenes where he's yelling at stuff. There you go. I mean, T. Gordon definitely sells that moment well. You really believe that he would do that to his dad and that he could really be pushed to do something highly immoral, so to speak. So you look at trivia. Stephen King's popularity was very high at the time that film went into production before the book was even published. To simulate the car regenerating itself, hydraulic pumps were installed on the inside of some of the film's numerous Plymouth Fury stunt doubles. A mock-up in plastic that looked more like metal on camera than actual metal as it bent and deformed. These pumps were attached to cables, which were in turn attached to the car's bodywork, and when they compressed, they would suck the paneling inwards. Footage of the crumbling body was then reversed, giving the appearance of the car spontaneously retaking form. Showed me. Pew. See, it's shots like that, like the sound effect of the headlights turning on, the camera pushing behind Arnie to reveal more of the car. And these do look cool. I mean, it really does make it seem like the car just fixes itself up and regenerates itself. You go, oh shit. It does look really neat. And looks really cool. So hydraulic pumps, huh? Plastic that look like metal. So 28 Plymouth Furies were purchased and restored for the film. Fewer showcase cars were used whenever Christine's sitting there to look pretty or being driven. Hot rod versions with souped up engines and airplane landing lights for the headlights for Christine's rampages, and junked and shell cars for the Virgin Christine's repair or for a death scene. According to the writer, Robert Prosty asked Phillips to give him more dialogue to make the interior more interesting, and that's why you have the scene where he's like, you pick up around the place, do a few lubes, put toilet paper on the spools. John Carver blacked out Christine's window so you don't know if Arnie's driving her. This is when the music really kicks into high gear, and I love this piece of music. And get some decent car action as well, some nice stunt work using the Plymouth Fury. Definitely the highlights of the film are these sequences. I know John Carver did like a music video later, and which kind of is revisiting of Christine, which is another updated version of this theme. Ben. Dun, 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 dun. That's a cool looking shot. Coming down the narrow alleyway with the guy being chased by their car. Especially here with like, well, what you don't do, you can't fit in, so the car just pretty much is able to injure itself in order to get to where it needs to go, because it to repair itself. So you see on the edge it can't fit, but Christine don't give a fuck about that. Because Christine wants revenge of being fucked over and being demolished. And you don't see any gore, but you get the idea. You fully get the idea behind it. Was that John Madden? Yeah, this makes sense. To also black out the windows is to conceal the stunt driver, so that actually helps quite a bit. Although it made the difficult for the driver to see, since these films were filmed at night. The movie technically did not have enough violence to justify an R rating, but they were afraid that if the movie went out with a PG rating, nobody would go see it, so he purposely inserted the F word as derivatives in order to get the R rating. Sorry, I'm listening to because it's Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton's a great actor. I mean, by this point, he was in Alien. He was in Escape from New York. John Carpenter's was it 81 came out. I mean, it's always great to see Harry Dean Stanton in this. I remember he's not given a whole lot to do. I think his character dies in the book, but I'm glad they didn't do that in the movie. Because yeah, I like Harry Dean Stanton as an actor, but it just seemed like he doesn't have much to do in the movie, and even then, it's like, why does he believe the kids and the car's alive? Try to remember there's a reason for that. Like, given as to why Aaron Dean Stanton believes the car's alive. Like, he's not really given anything to do, anything at all. So. Like Harrington Stan's having fun with the role, Scout's honor. But like you said, it's I guess to give a bit of heat onto T. Thornton's character, a little pressure onto his character. Like I say, it's just I wish Harry D. Stan was given a bit more to do during all this. You just hung up on her. Why do you think it's on the fucking phone now? Hell are you doing? Sorry, I'm just watching the film. I apologize for that. Oh shit. Got some company behind you, pal. You don't want to do that. Got some company behind you, man. Going up shit creek without a paddle. It's like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Oh, don't call me an asshole. I'm gonna fuck you up. Oh, don't do it, man. Don't do it. You ain't gonna like it. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Yeah, but every time I see that guy on the left, I keep thinking he's going to get shot and spit come out of his mouth. Please. You keep the $5. I will, mister. Like you recognize the car now? There you go. You should be recognizing that car. Jammed right in the whole fucking thing. Not bad at all. Maybe you shouldn't have been fucking staying there while our car was coming towards you. You should have tried to get out of the way and dodge or some shit. And this guy, get the fuck out of there instead of standing there. I'm just gonna watch this gasoline drip onto my feet. There you go. This is really cool. As the fact is, it's extended scene as well. It's not just a car. It's on fire for 10 seconds. Like you're driving this car on fire for such an extended amount of time, man. Such a great image. Nice explosion there, done practically. Done in camera. This picture of gas stations blowing up. When the hell is the Hitcher coming on Blu-ray? Come on, Second Sight. What are you doing? Ah, that music again. I just really love the score. Like, this is the one piece of score I remember. So, you know, there's other scores I enjoy much more of throughout this career, but run to the ditch. Stop going in a straight line. That's what you get. Should have ran to the fucking ditch, dumbass. Turn left, turn right, turn something, man. Goddamn. Like, what are you doing? Then is where Robert Frosty gets his comeuppance, so to speak. Because they're not going to take you anymore either. And that is a question, just how quick and how fast can this thing regenerate itself? Because later on, it's like regenerating instantly. So it's all burned up here. Is it able to regenerate itself before drive home, or what the deal is? I imagine like regenerate itself, and then he walks over, and then the reveal it was brand new. He's like, what the fuck? So he's calling. It's like, wait a minute, Arnie was driving my caddy, so who the hell's driving this one? So in a way, he's looking out for Arnie Cunningham. Like, you don't be stealing that boy's car. So in a way, he's trying to help Arnie, but Christine ain't having that shit. So again, it's kind of like he's doing a valiant thing where you're stealing this kid's car and I ain't having that shit. An iota of care, even a sliver of it. Despite how crusty and sullen he is. But, not sullen, but crusty and cranky he is. But that would be his downfall. What do you think it would be? Cold? You see the steam coming out. What do you think? What do you expect? Why would you sit in the car, man? I would not sit in a fucking burnt up car so my ass could be a grilled cheese sandwich. Why want to sit in the middle of a KFC bucket? Like, come on, dude. Again, why would you sit in a car like I'm gonna sit in this car, it's completely burnt up, hope I don't get burned. Maybe this is how the guy at the very beginning of the film died as well, via this. Getting crushed. I think I read somewhere that in the book, him or another character, like, Christine crashed through the damn garage and was, like, going back and forth onto the steps in order to try to get to him and run him over. Seemed like a much bigger scene, but that's definitely a much cheaper way of doing it. Well, it gave Arnie an alibi for the cops. And lo and behold, Christine looking perfect and shiny as always. Well, if you swear on it, then you must be telling the truth. I mean, he did swear on it, folks. Did swear on it. And John Stockwell, like, for the last half hour, has been such a non-entity as a character. Like, the past 30 or so minutes. Other than a scene or two in the hospital, like, the last, yeah, over half an hour. It's been, like, two scenes of hospital and that's it. I completely forgot that these two were friends. Completely forgot about that. Like, I completely forgot in my registry that these two were friends. And if there's supposed to be some kind of romance, they completely cut all that shit out. That's me. It just seems like a film is like a lot of bits here and there just cut out. Oh, I guess that's just me though. I think this is a film that really is helped, and I keep repeating this, on Keith Thorne's performance and technical aspects in terms of the camera work, the car work, car stunts, effects of the car coming back, that is trying to overlook a lot of the other, in my opinion, deficiencies within the film. Like I said, in terms of character work development that seems to be missing, among other aspects. What's the point of her watching them drive off? Like, what does that? Her watching them drive off. Like, what does that accomplish for her? Shitters. It's a little bit over the top performance by Steve Gorn there. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Yeah. Yeah, you see the car fucking drive by itself. Why did she care so much about him though? Nope. A boy in his car. He's ready to hump it. He's ready to fuck it in the grill. Now, I know he's repeating shitters because the one guy said it, but at the same time, that guy never drove Christine. His brother did. So if he was like mimicking what that guy's brother said and taught, that would make more sense. But again, he's not. He's mimicking the guy that never drove Christine's car. You know what I mean? Like he's repeating the vernacular of the guy that was never. Does it seem like okay? He's becoming like the guy before, but we never saw the guy who drove the car before. We just see the guy's brother. Unless the guy and his brother acted the exact same way, then it would make sense why now he's calling people shitters. I mean, yeah, the Roberts Blossom is a bit of a dick, but it was never showcased that he drove the car, and the reason he's behaving that way is because of the influence of the car. At least the movie doesn't showcase. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna act like this guy, but why you acting like Roberts Blossom? You know what I mean? Because if you're acting because of the car, again, that guy, the car was near him, but he never drove the car. At least that's what it didn't seem like throughout the story. This here, we're going to get to the finale, the showcase. So, at this point, does John Stackwell believe that the car's alive? Or he's like, if I destroy the car, then Arnie is somehow going to snap out of it? Or they're just. I do see why she believes in it a bit. She was in the car, the bright white lights and stuff. Does Stockwell believe it? I know Arnie let the car go and it. But then there should have been some kind of realization on Stockwell's face, like it's driving by itself, like that kind of reaction. You didn't really gauge that. I mean, because John Stockwell's such a shitty actor, he could gauge that for the viewer. And again, why does Harry Dean Stanton believe like in their story by the end of the film? Or maybe he doesn't. But at the same time, he's like, I don't know. He's with them while they're destroying the car, which is like evidence, or I don't know. Let's say Harry Dean Stanton like never, until the very end, never shows back up again. I did. He was in what? Two or three scenes at this point. So he just becomes kind of a non-entity. what do you want to fight Christine with? A bigger vehicle, in this case a bulldozer. Bulldoze your way out of this fucking... bulldoze the shit out of you. There's that theme again. Yeah, get that theme going. There you go. Oh shit. Fuck out of Dodge, lady. Get the hell out of there. Ding doo 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 doo. Bam bam da 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 da. Now that I watch this again, that's really the only music I remember of the score other than the Bad to the Bone and actual songs. Like John Carpenter's score, like that's the only thing I really remember. So I like the theme, but it's, as a full score, it's not really like I saw the Piece 13, The Thing, Ennio Morricone's work, and that you can listen to the whole thing and get multiple great attributes out of it. Like, that's a good looking shot, that point of view going towards the lady hiding in the bulldozer. That's what I mean. A lot of the technical aspects definitely save the film and make it, at the very least, interesting to watch for that reason. Like the way the film's lit, the way it's shot, and things of that nature. It definitely helps on that front. Like, why is it not rebuilding itself now? Just not yet. I am, it's shaking. It's twitching. It's twitching. We got a twitcher. We got a twitcher. Stop twitching. So what are you gonna do now? What you gonna do when they come for you? Don't jam his bulldozer right up your ass. Get on my face. Get the fuck out of my face, dude. I'm gonna jam this bulldozer right up your ass. One of the few times you see Arnie behind the wheel, and again gives the question to the viewer, was he there the whole time? Or just this moment? Oh shit. Ooh. That's why you should always wear your seatbelt. Should always be wearing your seatbelt. I know that was one of the things I read up, is that keep going whenever you touch the car, you try to imagine it's a woman because that's the mental state of the character. So it's like he's touching a body part of a woman. You think Dean Stockwell would... Dean. God, I keep saying Dean. You think John Stockwell would have some kind of... Dean Stockwell was in Quantum Leap and such. This is John Stockwell. Dang, John Stockwell barely has any reaction to supposedly his best friend dying. I mean, his reaction is, man, they got no more Snickers. Oh my god, they ran out of soda at the store. You have a little bit more music here. Yeah, don't just stand there. Get the fuck out of the way. Again, when you battle, get something bigger. Get something bigger. To fuck it up. Why is she standing right there? That's like the worst spot to stand, is right out in front of it. Why is she standing there? Why is she fucking standing there? I just think it was a good looking shot, but it's like, what the fuck? Then John Stockwell is very broken up about the death of his buddy. And that's the thing, is Christine doesn't really showcase a lot of terror in this finale. I just saw a little bit, to be fair, of when I was trying to get the girl. But like, it's just nothing compared to this bulldozer. It's the Killdozer from back in the day, that TV movie. Christine versus the Killdozer. And the Killdozer wins, I guess. Killdozer wins. Oh shit. Now how the fuck did it go from there? And how did Harry Dean Stanton get there? If you think about it, none of this makes any goddamn sense. I think you see a little bit of a turn. But pretty much, I guess, is without someone loving it, it's not going to come back anyway. The reason I said the ending really makes no goddamn sense is the things on top of it. So how the fuck do you get from the bulldozer on top of it to then pick it up before it regenerates, get into that facility to crush it. And why the fuck is Harry Dean stand there instead of at the garage? And isn't that car evidence? When the cops go, what the fuck are you doing? You're destroying evidence. No, you can't destroy that car. That's evidence in a crime. Like, the cops will not allow you to destroy the fucking car that's evidence in the crime. And Harry Dean Stanton doesn't know that's a car that's alive. To him, Arnie was the killer. I think that's what he believes. I don't know why he would believe anything else, because of the stuff he's seen. Though that very few. So, why will the cops just let these two kids take a big part of the crime scene, the evidence, the car, which was used as the murder weapon, and yeah, you go ahead and blah, 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 blah. And again, Harry Dean Stanton didn't know that the car was alive, so I'll let her go, because, you know. And again, how did they get from on top of the car to crushing in all the way here out in the fucking middle of nowhere? And one guy is like on one leg, literally, and whatever. This film is not as good as I remember. I think it's an okay film. I liked it. It's an okay film. But I don't love the film. It's okay. Like I said, I give like a 3 out of 5 stars. And there's a lot of parts that either they missing holes in the plot, stuff that, you know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, characters that aren't really developed. John Stockwell's bad acting. Alexandra Paul is barely a character. We don't even see much of an introduction from her other than she's sitting down and all of a sudden she's with Arnie. And Keith Thorne's performance, some technical aspects of the direction and the uses of music and sound design, those are what make the film watchable. But I think it's one of Carpenter's lesser movies. I do. Watch it again. I don't hate the film. I like it, but I don't love it like other films. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you later, man. Bye-bye.